This week on RSBANDB Update, we are so back. Why, you might ask? Well, Daemonheim Archaeology is here with the usual collection of artifacts, mysteries, and of course a new relic. Everyone's favorite skill continues to deliver, and we discuss new lore, the graphical update, and 2 new skilling offhands. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 990, recorded Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Daemonheim Digging. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update. It's Daemonheim Archaeology Week. I guess this is... Am I putting the cart before the horse here, folks, if this is another We Are So Back episode?
We are so back.
I agree.
Can you dig it?
That's right. That's Avernick, and Tan is here. Also joining us is Pernasius. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
The second Australian, according to some listeners. But we're gonna just dive right into this piece of content. Everybody loves archaeology. It's RuneScape's, I think, probably most beloved skill universally in terms of what people would want. So we're gonna get into all that. But before that, I just want to thank our experienced tier Patreon members because they truly do make the world work for us here at RSBANDB. This week, I'd like to thank Amos Reed, Andrew C., Drama Free, Jason S., Jesse W., Kesky, Ricky A., Rippeth, Runestar, and the Naked Captain. Big thank you to you guys. We will talk more about Patreon a little bit later in the podcast, but in the meantime, if you want to follow along, full show notes over at update.show. We do have the Discord at update.show/Discord, and you can find the Friends chat over at BitsBytes. Tanasy's here pretty much each and every week. Pernasius, resident Australian and Clan Quester, and Avernick, resident of the Lore Discord and other places. So
yes,
welcome aboard, everyone.
I might have to challenge Tanis to a crocodile wrestling competition for that number 1 Australian spot, I think. Or maybe Vegemite toast eating.
I don't know. I can knock a kangaroo out.
Oh my god!
Pretty.
Hey! I put my money on the kangaroo every time. You see those when they sit back on their back legs and kick? They can gut a dingo.
All right. Well, from the outback to Daemonheim, here we go.
Same thing.
Is it? I don't know.
Hey, one's covered in snow, one's covered in sand, but hey, people hate going to both.
Yeah, I mean, it's desolate and got a legacy of criminals, right?
We got 3 new mysteries, 3 collections, 16 artifacts spread over 2 level brackets of 73 to 87 and 103 to 13, 2 skilling offhands, a new relic, and a brand new environment. And we're just going to start off here by going through some of the excavations and some of the artifacts that we find in the various environment pieces here. And I feel like the Daemonheim Castle topside now has purpose because, people use those matchmaking rooms on the first day and they kind of disappeared after that, and now they have purpose again, housing the archaeological dig sites here, like the castle hall rubble and whatnot. So how is this for you?
It's great.
First,
it's great to bring life because I don't think Dungeoneering was doing it.
Whoa.
Yes, people here now.
Yeah. But it was always missing stuff. It felt like if like it was kind of, well, I guess it's supposed to be bare, but
it was purely a lobby area for an instance skill.
Yeah,
it was all the whole skill was happening in instances
for a maxi mini game.
Yeah, and I mean at the end of the day, people very much prefer archaeology over Dungeoneering, and I was dreading this when I read they were going to be skilling offhands. I thought, oh crap, please don't make it a Dungeoneering skill offhand. Please don't.
Dodge that bullet.
They can do that as long as they still do other ones as well.
Well, would that be like a brace for the hole or something? Like dig deeper?
It only buffs the summer hole.
It's a bungee cord. You just jump down and bounce back out. You know, it just doubles your XP.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Or Silverhawk boots for dungeoneering.
So we start off here. We start off getting things like the Castle Gatestone and the engraved Ring of Friendship. Looks, of course, a lot like the Ring of Kinship here. And just a reminder to everybody, if you want to see high-resolution artwork of the artifacts, you can find those in your archaeology journal, and they will tell you exactly what those artifacts are, where they come from, and a little bit about them. Like the Castle Gatestone is a large spent gatestone that resists being moved away from the surface of Daemonheim. It bears the same crests as the Ring of Kinship. And I think the interesting thing about this dig site in going through these is that the first three topside are very much what we would have come to expect out of Daemonheim, right? It's not like anything, that's in effect pushing the envelope, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, like, this is the part of the site you do while you're still progressing through dungeoneering. So it's good to touch on all of the things you see in dungeoneering without stepping on its toes too much. We do that later, but it works more in tandem here. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not just the stuff at the surface. Somehow there's artifacts here from within the Daemonheim floors too, like the exploratory totem, for example. A crude map and bears the frozen floors crest, and perhaps they say it's a symbol of explorations and new adventures, which of course we were doing when dungeoneering first came out way back.
That's also a sinkhole item, I think, right?
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. The
totems.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is linking. It's like floors and stuff. So yeah, more integration.
Yeah. What about the excavator portal mine? I was thinking it was going to be like an explosive.
I think this is a reference to one of the dungeoneering journals that says that when this place was being dug out, I think it was a Balarak one, but I think they're attributing it to the Dragonkin now, is that they were digging out and they were just dumping dirt in the abyss.
Oh,
so
interesting.
This would be something they were used to teleport dirt away.
Oh, yeah, and that would make sense because the device is theorized to teleport a large amount of material to the abyss. So it leans into that nicely. With that, and were we always able to go up these stairs here, or is that new here?
Yeah. No, you could do it, but
there was nothing up there. You could just look over that room that you could jump down from, but now there's stuff.
Okay. I just had to check that because that was a little bit odd because I honestly don't know if I'd ever gone up here before.
No, I knew that when I first started. That's when I was doing the first time I tried dungeoneering. That was the meeting place of this group that I ran one with and got abused and never did it again.
Well, that story took a turn.
I did. Yeah, I did. 99% of my 200 mil dungeoneering is solo because.
And was that before or after they buffed solos?
Experience.
Sorry,
was that before or after they buffed solos?
Or half it before, the other after. Basically, my first foray into it, went with a friend, said, "Hey, brand new, haven't done it," and I was just copping abuse, left and right for not doing things right. I'm like, "Hey, well, hang on, this is the first time I've run it. I don't know what I'm doing," and I thought, "Screw it," and I never touched it again. That was the last skill, and I just ran it all solo, and the little D&D that they ended up bringing out for it.
And now we have a happy reason, of course, to go back to Daemonheim.
Yes, now
topside.
It's
erase those old memories.
Exactly. It's cleansing the post-traumatic stress syndrome I had for the area.
Topside, you can find a storage totem. They say this is a waypoint marker with symbols that indicate storage, and it bears the abandoned floor's crest. There's also a plant seed satchel. The sack is full of rare seeds and plants and trees that grow in Daemonheim. And, part of me, when I thought skilling Offhand and I first saw this on the list here, I thought, ooh, maybe we could use this, and maybe this is, maybe we'll have a farming skilling Offhand.
Oh, I thought the same thing when I thought, and then I realized I thought it was going to be another extension of farming where we can sort of be growing the plants of Daemonheim, but no.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. And then we got something called a snuff box, which is a fancy item, still packed with powdered plants. It smells a little off after all this time.
Those
One
plastic
for the
Agra
druggies.
dragonkin.
Yeah, you know, they need to just put their plants in there for the pipes we find downstairs, right?
That's it. The hookah pipes.
Yeah.
They're definitely the most
Your
chill
God.
dragonkin faction.
And then the other dig site or excavation site up top here, the communal spaces provide the spent summoning charm, the friendship bracelet, and the homely totem. Fun fact: in North America, homely refers to something or somebody who is ugly.
Average.
Does it mean something else somewhere else?
Yeah.
Of home? No.
But in any case, the spent summoning charm has lost its power, of course. Holding it seems to give off wavering feelings of both joy and regret. That kind of encapsulates summoning, doesn't it?
A little bit. And then for some reason, this artifact requires felt to repair. So there's some summoning charm lore, I guess.
Huh, fascinating. The homely totem is a pleasant statue that would look good in any home, and it bears the furnished floors crest. Obviously, that's the other definition of homely. And then, of course, the friendship bracelet is something you're going to want more than just the two of to complete the collections.
Yes.
Because it's an adornment that bears decorations that we've seen both in Agra and Garajo cultures. We're seeing that merging.
Did any of you spot that it was tool beltable before knowing what it was for?
Yeah.
Yes.
I always right-click everything to check these days, so yeah.
Yeah.
I did not see that, so it took me until the door said to put on that.
Right. And that's what...
Well, I didn't actually put it on the belt until I opened the door, just in case you had to use it on there first.
And that's what deprived you of the world first, right, Avernick?
I have no. I know what deprived me of the world first is that I didn't see the door for 20 minutes, and at that point you're too behind.
Yeah, because what you had to do, of course, in order to even begin to use the artifact on the door, is there's a research there, and I think that takes probably about 25-30 minutes with the full full proper research team.
So 31 minutes.
Yeah. So, but overall, up top here, I feel like this graphical rework that they managed to sneak in with this update, it continues the trend that we've seen of, being so faithful to the originals, but also just updating it to fit within the modern RuneScape palette, so to speak. And it carries on, how they did so well with the ice and the different coloring in Fremenic land. So
it's wonderful, and to think this was the graphical budget that would have been for the summer holiday event, right? That got canned.
I think I'm glad we got it for this.
I think so too. I think they'll get more mileage out of this.
Yeah.
But in any case, that's the lower level band, and I want to talk in particular here about the collection Dragonkin 5, which is those first 4 artifacts from the Gatestone up to the Portal Mine. And when you complete that, you get 2 large Dungeoneering token boxes, and this is repeatable.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Good way to train your Dungeoneering through.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, you could.
Yep. In a way, they do scale with level. So if you're low level, it's not as great.
Right. But that's what I was thinking with this is that, you combine this with Whole and archaeology here.
And
this would be how my skill peer would train Dungeoneering.
All you gotta do is find Scaldron. I guess we didn't mention that you have to find Scaldron to do this site.
Thank you for mentioning that, because I need to highlight 2 things on that. First things first, if you use the in-game highlight feature, like the little splash screen that pops up, it teleports you over to the rewards trader at the start. You're like, 8 or 9 blocks away from Skaldron there. So that's a little bit confusing. Now, obviously, your archaeology outfit in the table in the guild will teleport you to the right spot. So that's point number 1. And point number 2 is what you said, Avernick, is that Skaldron won't be here unless you find him in one of the floors, which I think you have to do fairly on if you want to enable the sagas, right?
Yeah, you have to do it anyway. It's pretty early. I think you need like level 13 dungeoneering to find him, so it's not crazy, but you do have to do it. Yeah,
and I think you can do it on, I think it's C2 at least that you need for that, based on what I was hearing, for the folks who might have done that. So you do need to expose yourself to a bit of dungeoneering, but as you mentioned, those lower levels are going to go quick with the XP stuff that we got in this day and age. Yeah. So,
I mean, in that regard, it may bring back a little bit of life to dungeoneering. Force people who haven't done it who want access to all this.
Have people not done it at all? Probably, right?
There's a few people.
Well, here's the thing. What reason do you have to do dungeoneering?
Yep, as I said,
as a new account.
Yeah.
Where would you find said Skaldron?
He's frozen in one of the dungeons as you're running through in the first few levels.
Yeah, you have to melt him.
But like at Daemonheim.
Oh, he's the site master.
Yeah,
he's the mystery guy.
Right, but where?
Are you having problems with this too?
Oh, I've been doing archaeology since it came out, but I have not found that guy the whole damn time. I've just been getting artifacts
So you know where you find the Garaggio Horde Stalker?
Yeah.
And then to the east of him is the rewards trader. To the west of the Horde Stalker is Skaldron.
To the west of
the Garaggio Horde Stalker.
The old white, he's
and he's standing in front of the pot with a flame in front of it.
There we go.
And you have to go through a couple dialogue options because you have to pick mysteries or dig site, not sagas.
Right click and you can pick.
If you go right to mysteries,
yeah. Right click everything when you first play, so you know.
Was this difficult because you didn't know where he was, or because you couldn't see him? Where are we at with this? Is this a thing where high contrast mode would help? What's the deal here?
Well, yeah, it's one of those. While like him, once I found him, he's nice and bordered and highlighted. It was that finding them thing, because I was trying to move my mouse, catch that mouse over text and stuff. It was looking for people.
Okay, so just the usual then. Just the usual.
Yeah, that's always a challenge.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. With that, are we ready to move down? Because I feel like I made my point with dungeoneering token boxes.
Yeah.
So
there was also the other collection up here, but I don't know if you want to cover that later.
Which one was that?
The collection 6. 6 is
okay.
also all upstairs artifacts.
Yeah, that's the botanical and communal ones from those.
And that gets you the relic.
Oh yeah, and
so you don't have to go downstairs to get the relic.
Right. That's good then. Yeah, for some reason I thought 6 was split between up and down, but it's not. That's good. 6 on completion gives you a dungeoneering wildcard and 2 large token boxes, but it's 6 relics instead of 4. So if you're going for the tokens, obviously Dragonkin 5 is going to be the one that you're interested in that. And I know we said we were gonna we'll come back to the relic on that. Okay. I want to go downstairs right now. So you need that friendship bracelet. You can put it on your tool belt, and then you can just walk through the imposing door. After doing the research, and then bam, down here, red, tons of red, and this reminded me of the thing that we had in the Moksha ritual site.
Absolutely.
Is it similar or
it's the same thing?
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think they don't refer to it by name
No,
because
they
they don't want
don't.
to step on the Orthan mystery toes. Like they want you to have done that. To
Right,
understand
because
what
this
it
is very early on in Orthan.
This is
or in the
Yeah.
Dragonkin archaeology stuff.
Right. You don't necessarily have to have done that before this.
Right, because
so.
this is level
103.
like we said,
You
70.
can get on here.
Yeah, but I'm saying the upstairs stuff starts at 74.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you could very well do this before you do any of the Anachronia stuff. But yeah, 103 for this. And I guess the thing with this that I want to, get your thoughts on, Avernick, and I guess everybody else's too. What was your guys' first thoughts when seeing this big thing down here? Because I don't think we were anticipating this. I at least wasn't.
It exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
I agree. I am surprised. Like in the definitions they have provided before, this is a mini dig site, right? It's not introducing any new culture or materials. It's smaller.
But it's introducing
But
new
there's
lore.
this huge thing. No, yeah. This huge graphical thing they managed to put in here, so it's kind of towing the line between the two almost.
Yeah.
For me, this was bigger than the Santistan site.
Oh, for sure, I agree.
Like far. It
Okay.
felt that way,
Maybe
at least.
maybe it's because I
I think
like
the graphics help.
Yes, but of course, I think the reason for Santistan still felt more impactful for me is because I had always, since archaeology came out, had an interest with the Inquisitor stuff and the early Zoroastrian stuff. So that was more of a personal interest for me. But I will give you guys this that this dig site does have its ramifications for it.
I think most of the dig sites do have like that whoa moment, and this one definitely has it.
Yeah, like the Everlight lighthouse,
right, or the Infernal Source, or the even just inside Caradet, like the first 5 levels in the skill or 10.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the big whoa.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So starting off at 103, we have the projection attuner. Some of the objects we found in Orthan are similar to this thing. It appears to be used as a meditation aid. You see the direction we're going here, eh?
Yeah, it's kind of supporting this same machine.
Yeah. We have the golden projection needle, a delicate golden item that looks both beautiful and horrifying. Experts think it could transplant minds, but that can't be possible. Can it? And then...
Can it?
Yeah. So... do we think that is possible after getting this and reading the lore in here? I guess is my question on this, like mind transference.
Well,
I think it's pretty. Yes. It's happened.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible, and I mean, we had to actually even run the test on it to make sure
it's no longer possible.
Exactly.
But previously, like the Augur used it to become the Infernal Demons, like that's the Twilight of the Gods thing. And I think some of the memories also talk about them going into other bodies, like of behemoths and mastics and stuff.
Okay. I'm just trying to process all this down here because we're gonna get to the big thing first, but I guess I should do artifacts still before we get to the mysteries. So we also have the Comfort Gatestone, an intrinsically carved gatestone crystal, apparently has healing powers. We can't see how, but looking at it cheers us all up. Again, something we need when doing dungeoneering.
Oh, damn.
We need a
cuddle the
comforter.
Gatestone.
A little sharp, but sure.
I was going to say, where's the felt on that one?
We have Halleck's Cube, which is a tactile puzzle that occasionally shuffles itself on its own. People reported dungeons shifting more frequently as we examined it.
That one's cool, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's, I think, another memory that says that they made all the rooms upstairs modular and move around, and I think like it's kind of harkening to that.
Yeah, that's like quintessential dungeoneering lore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all moves.
Yeah, then we have the portable portal generator. Would have been nice if they had one more P in there for the alliteration, but we'll let that go. It's a miniature portal device that requires an immense power to activate, And they say, why would anyone ever want to use this instead of a trusty law rune? What are they talking about there? Are they talking about that mysterious power? Immense power, mysterious power? Or am I reading too much?
I think they're using it to support their mind transferring across worlds, but I don't think it's totally explained.
Okay. And then we have the warped trinket. What seems to have been a personal effect has become warped beyond recognition in the deepest depths. We restored it as best we could, and it could be interesting art now. And then for completing this collection, you get Tetracompass pieces, which, I mean, that's okay.
But a great side reward while you're hunting for brushes.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it. While you're hunting for brushes, you're going to get Tetracompass pieces rather than just, farming them straight up at Warforge and getting spear tips. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Graphically down here, very red. I used high contrast mode to find a few of the interactable things here. I don't know.
I did not find the book on my own. It just blended in.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
That one I had to be told existed.
Okay. Yeah. And you want to find that book because you can't find brush pieces until you read that book.
Mm.
Yeah, and Hunter Hypnowand pieces.
Yeah. Oh, wand pieces, right. Yes. There we go.
I got lucky there because when I was exploring, I saw I was just sort of following and someone run over and they said, "Oh, book's here." And I thought, "Oh, book?" And I've just run over and oh, nice, picked it up.
All right.
Yeah,
graphically,
I love the area.
Graphically, I think, again, wonderful. Entirely different than what we have topside. Topside, very traditional Daemonheim. But underneath here, it's a mix of Dragonkin versus what we've come to expect in the depths of Daemonheim, I'd say. Like in the warp floors,
for example. Blend, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally unexpected. I was expecting little rooms for each one, not a whole big open area with that big machine in the middle. So it was unexpected, but a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. All right. So let's hop on into the mysteries then, because I feel like that's one of the more interesting things that we got from this is that, I feel like when we were initially talking about this dig site, for some reason, for the first while it was a game jam project, we were thinking it was going to be an extension of the Zamorakian stuff, but I think as we learned more about it, it just makes 100% sense that it's Dragonkin on here. And oh boy, we learned a lot here about the Augur, didn't we, Avernick?
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit a good point about when this started in Game Jam, which was late 2022. We were told in a little blog that they were making this to cover some late Daemonheim, do like some closure, some wrap up.
Yeah.
It's clearly evolved since then.
Right.
But
and of course, Zamorak had his hideout down there, so we thought, it's going to be Zamorakian.
And that was only months after the Twilight God stuff, so maybe they had this in their mind that they were going to do this. So I think that the mysteries we got at least the first two are very Augur centric, right? They're all memories, which is something new. There's not pages.
Yeah,
that we're getting items that we're using Skaldron for, which is a really good use of him.
And I said that to people, is that I actually like the way they did that. You get the memory item and then you bring it in rather than getting the book pages. I thought that was an interesting touch.
It's very unique to this content and uses like the lore they already had well, because that's his ability, is that he tells us the sagas the same way through touching objects. So the first mystery was called A New Home. It's very much about the Augur coming from Orthan and building it, and then just kind of tying a couple like oddities to like Dragonkin stuff, like the rooms moving, and they brought the plants are Dragonkin and they planted them here. It's why they're unique. Things like that, and getting established. Which is really good, like baseline lore, I think.
And the Augur were the Dragonkin that we knew the least about.
Yes, the Augur
were
one of the Dragonkin factions that were touched on mostly in Orthan.
Yeah,
they were named in Desperate Measures. They're mostly covered in Orthan. They were the ones that did the mind transferring with the Moksha.
And we
in that
I feel
third
like we
area.
knew the least about them, right?
Absolutely, because we got the note on eventually in God War's dungeon. Obviously, we had the Necrocertes and the Dactyl all the way since back. So the Agra were still the least known about. I think the last thing we learned about them was in Twilight of the Gods, where they were revealed to be the infernal demons as well.
Oh,
So this, I think, a lot of your mileage with how you liked these mysteries and this dig site, at least the story of it, will probably relate very directly to how you felt about that bit in Twilight of the Gods.
yeah, and I remember when we were discussing Twilight of the Gods, and obviously you weren't on the podcast for that. I feel like the thing we talked about with Twilight of the Gods at the time, it was like bang, 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 4 or 5 different spots, wrapping things up, and then, shifting to reestablishing the edicts after that. And it did feel, from what I remember, that the Dragonkin bit there in that quest was a little bit short.
This is giving it a lot more room to breathe.
Yeah. And
they even reveal some things, like, so it's not just there.
And that's exactly what archaeology has to do in terms of being the lore skill. Tanis and Pern, what did you guys think of A New Home?
Yeah, loved it.
Okay.
I mean, I love the way they do the mysteries, and as you said with Skuldron, I gave it a 4.95 out of 5. I would have liked to see just some artwork rather than a black screen.
I think we all agree, but yeah.
But I mean,
I feel like that's how the sagas were, though. They were just like a black screen. Because it's
for a couple lines and they fade in, yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically like, it's that whole mind transfer business. He's, putting thoughts in your head.
Yeah, but I think you and I were discussing it the other day, just in chat, that a really good way of doing it, rather than just dropping pages from books, taking it to him, because it really ties into the lore of Daemonheim and Dungeoneering, using him and getting those artifacts to take to him and everything. So yeah, again, I just can't fault it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's real good.
When you can't find a fault, it's it's good.
Yeah, a new form.
A new form. The mystery. Sorry.
Second one. Yep.
I thought you were talking about like how we're doing mysteries.
No.
The mystery, a new form. Same premise, right, as above, but I think this one kind of like lets loose a little because it has the 95 dungeoneering requirement to get down here. It's much higher level. It talks less about them establishing the place and more about what they did while they were here. So it reveals that they were infernal demons, led by Caligar, which is good to baseline against. And then it talks a bit about, in very vague terms, how they interacted with Balarak.
Which I thought was interesting given where we were at in our most recent quest.
It's definitely a good little touchstone. I think most of what they say in this mystery is that they think he's going crazy from using this device too much, because he's using their mind transferring device and testing it. Clearly, he's testing it for a plan, which we'll talk about in the next mystery.
Yeah.
But that really does help explain like why in the Nadir saga, when you get down there with Moya, why he's talking to himself and kind of crazy. They kind of tie
like who would have thought that these archaeology mysteries are what we would have needed to make smooth over some of the lore things from the most recent quests that we had that we were talking about.
Their best feature. One of my favorite archaeology mysteries is when they talk about how the Armadillo agent that was investigating the Bandos metal just bought some goblins and sent them east, and that's how the Dorgashen were made. It's that kind of weird stuff that I really love archaeology for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what these little orangish red things coming up out of the floor are? Is we're on the topic of mysteries?
Red things. I think, is that not just the warped floor aesthetic? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's
I don't
familiar.
spend much time in dungeoneering, so that could very well be it.
Did you spot the one chaos star that was painted on the machine over in a corner?
No.
Which was the symbol Balarak used in the Civil War, then Moya adopted afterwards. So was it from back then? Was it from now? Who knows?
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
yeah, this one was just basically finding the artifacts and handing them in. So it was more just storytelling. There was no sort of running off to talk to
Not
different
yet. Yeah.
characters in this one. So it was still very good, because obviously because of the lore. But yeah.
If I had to give one complaint,
Yeah.
the RNG mysteries are a pain for doing world first race.
Yeah.
It's up to Gothics
Pure
as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But it's fine. It is what the skill. It's probably better long term.
So you mentioned that a new form leads into what the Ogrip were doing after they built Daemonheim, and what would you say the biggest highlight of what we picked up here is?
They're hopping into bodies and trying their darndest to get back at the Elder Gods by helping Balarak and hopefully ally with Zamorak.
Just when we thought the discussion over Elder Gods and whatnot was done.
The dragon can always lead there.
Yeah.
Because this was their method for bypassing the curses while they were body hops. They didn't feel it.
Yeah. And then, because the other ones slept it off, right? And then, so this is what these ones came up with. So.
They kept probably feeling it more and more, and that's why they eventually just permanently became demons.
Infernal demons.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk about exactly how the Elder Gods and what we were up to in our most recent quests, and maybe even the 6th Age stuff, about how that goes next in a new age. And before we do that, I'm actually going to take a moment and thank our Patreon supporters, because we just finished something this week, actually, on the topic of the 6th Age. We just published our monthly bit on issues of the 6th Age, and we went through pretty much most of the quests, starting with The World Wakes, ending with Extinction, and highlighted what we felt as were some of the little rough spots in the 6th Age. Looking back on it with the benefit of 10 years plus of hindsight, we did that for our monthly bit. That's up right now at patreon.com/RSBANDB. If you want to get access to that, you can subscribe there, but there is actually a full collection of people who already do that. This week, I'd like to thank Alvaro L., Amos Reed, Andrew C., Arvid L., Chubura, Daniel W., Dominic R., Drama Free, Duramax, Gila Fleur, Jacob G., Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mongrath, Parnassius, Ricky A., Rippeth, Runestar, Samuel FL, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Targayen, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Tom V., Truth Ray, Ukulele Steve, Zant, and Zazakon. Big, huge thank you to all these people and more. If you want to figure out what all this is about, patreon.com/RSBNB. But the biggest attraction there for everybody, for as little as $1 a month, you get access to our monthly bit. Those are our bonus shows where we talk about one thing in particular for about an hour and a bit each and every month, hence the name. This month, as I mentioned, we talked about the issues of the 6th Age. Avernick, you were on that one.
It was all sunshine and rainbows.
As best it could be, right?
As best we tried our darndest.
I raged at a segment of it.
Oh yes. No, that was a good fun talk.
Yeah,
sometimes it's cathartic.
Yeah,
right?
That wasn't planned. It just worked up throughout the entire episode. But Zerdones was there, as was Darkest Night. So if you want to hear that episode, patreon.com/RSBNB. That one and so many others for as little as $1 a month. We also have the VIP tier, where you get a VIP rank on our Discord server. You get chat channel access, I mentioned on the podcast at the start of the month, and high-quality stereo versions of the show. And if you want to give a little bit more, we have our Insider tier, where you get a shout-out on the podcast each and every week and gain exclusive access to the outtakes that we use to make the clip show at the end of the year. And you also get the RSBNB Update Christmas card with that. But check that out. Check that monthly bit out. It's a good one. But we talked about the 6th Age, we talked about the Elder Gods there, and I think that's a good point to move on to a new age now for the next mystery here, isn't it?
This is the big one, right?
Yeah.
I think it kind of happens in two parts.
Yeah, let's break this down a bit here.
Right. So you find the Strange Token, which is the start of it, which is an item that is notorious in Dungeoneering as being the rarest quote-unquote lore journal to find while doing the last 2 or 3 floors.
And to get the Strange Token here, you have to have completed all of the other mysteries.
The mysteries, I think a research with the Moksha in the middle, and Twilight of the Gods, which will come up in a bit.
Now, is this telegraphed anywhere in game?
Not yet, but there has been some community mod mentions in Discord and Reddit that they want to.
Okay, because that's important.
You're right. I was skilling with someone that did not know.
Because
they were there all day.
At this point going forward, skill peers are out the door, and they're not going to be able to finish the archaeology collections now.
Right.
Or sorry, the mysteries.
At least the mystery, which is site mastery.
Which is sad, because they were able to do that before.
Were they?
I thought they were.
Probably.
But, okay. So, after that, how long did it take you to find the strange token?
At least one more research worth, so probably 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. I counted in artifacts. It took me 8 artifacts after completing the collections. Tanis, have you done this one yet?
No.
Okay,
no.
so we'll go to the most hilarious one then with Pernasius. How long did it take you to get your strange token? Tell the story.
Oh yeah. It was like I come down to do it. I'd finished all my research and thought, okay, now I'm going to go down and find this strange token. As I walked in, there's a guy complaining he'd been there for like 4 or 5 hours, and he was like really screaming. He wanted to get back to his bossing, but he wanted to finish this off. And I've gone, oh great, it's going to be a while. So I clicked on it, grabbed a drink, flicked the TV on to find a show, looked back down at my screen, and the strange token was in my thing. So yeah, 15 seconds to get it. My RNG there is really good. My RNG on lore stuff like that has always been pretty good. It's on big drops that I never get it.
Where it's important.
Exactly. I mean, like when I was going for Master Quest Cape, I got at Nex, I got the book drop there in like under 40 kills, which people told me was really good, and things like that. But basically, I just got really lucky, and it was just funny. I said, oh, geez, I just got here, and I've got it already, and the guy just went off his tree. So
well, based on that, then, is that he was probably missing one of the requirements.
Twilight of the Gods. I know. That's. I have a bit of a chuckle now, thinking, I wonder if he hadn't done it. And, if you look on the wiki, it tells you.
Yeah, it now says you need.
But
I think people that did it the first day were supposing it was a requirement, but it wasn't confirmed till the next day.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just, and just hearing everyone else that, I just got really, really lucky, because most people it is sort of, that 30 minutes to an hour. So 15 seconds I thought was pretty good.
I mean, I feel bad for you. You got to do less archaeology.
Well, that was the other thing. I mean, it's like when they release skilling pets, it's the same thing. At the time, Slayer was my favorite pet. I went, pets have been released. Great. Loaded up. Okay, I'm going to do a whole lot of Slayer, and I'm just going to work at this pet. It was halfway through my first task, I got the Slayer pet.
That's like me with my farming run. I got it on. I got my farming pet the first time on the first farming run after skilling pets came out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this. I mean, archaeology is my favorite one, so I'm settling in for. I'm thinking, okay, I've got a full week's worth of content here. I knocked it over in like 3 or 4 hours, and I had all the requirements done. So,
but do you? Because you're still missing offhand pieces.
Well, offhands, but they're not part of your Master Quest or anything like that. But they are still drops that I want to get.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I will still get them.
On the offhand. Yeah. So this strange token has you world hopping. Scaldron go for it.
Yeah, so first thing is that you've got 95 dungeoneering because you're down here. You've done all the mysteries. You've got this token now, and Scaldron tells you a bunch of stuff up front. He tells you that he was Grondaban, which was the guy who wrote most of the dungeoneering journals, which was a theory for a long time. That's finally confirmed. He tells you about what the Balarak's plan was to get Zamorak in before Guthix was killed. These are all like the big heavy hitting,
the big beats of the Fifth Age you might have guessed, but they never acted upon.
Right. So this is all confirmation. And then before I even asks the question, the player asks, wait, if they had a plan to bring a god in before Guthix died, can they do it now that we've re-put the edicts up? And that's the second half of the mystery, is kind of like a coda to Twilight of the Gods, where you've just discovered this loophole that existed, which has existed since the original Dungeoneering, or at least the warp floors were released. So they have to cover their bases and be like, no, we're not. This is Jagex moderator saying, no, we're not gonna. We told you the answer, but we're not gonna use it, at least right now.
God, at least right now.
Right, they can always go back, right? But they have you redo a Twilight of the Gods test to say it's shut it down for the moment. I'm gonna leave it like they're leaving it open a little bit too, right?
Yeah,
but they're saying the machine's not gonna work the way that we just said it would have before the world wakes.
I think that's very stereotypical Mod Jack, right? Like you always got to have an out and a way to do a different
Both
story
ways,
if you need to, right?
They've said the way they want it to go, which is we're not going to use it. This is just us giving you answers. But they've also said, but if you really want it, or if we find a need for it in the future, maybe.
Never say never.
Right. They're very vague on what the test is. Yeah. So for now, they can be like, oh, yeah, the test's working. Later, be like, oh, but you only tested this.
Right. And that's the same thing you and I thought of. And you brought this to me that you said, well, I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's a very popular thing right now to say that, oh, the test was a hoax or wasn't sound or whatnot. I think that's, I mean, I feel like people should feel free to say how they want the story to go. But I think that's one way of reading it. I think the more direct way of reading it is this is shutting it down. This is Twilight of the Gods 1.1, where they've introduced an exception and as a story answer for something that we've been asking for 10 years, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And then that's where we leave it.
And I feel like there's a lot of back and forth that we could have on this, and we'll do that on the Lore Diggers episode when we go through this, because I feel like there's cases that could be made to take it at face value that the edicts work. But I also feel like if you dive deeper into some of the other things that are tangential to Orphan and everything else that we've been seeing, that you could see, well, maybe they wouldn't, right?
It can always go both ways. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a game written by people that want to write for what people want, so.
Yeah.
It's always good when they leave it like that, where, hey, we can if we want, but we don't have to if we don't want.
Yeah,
but this was awesome section. I loved all the activity. They brought the smuggler into it, which is always like that mysterious character, kind of implying that he's working with the Guthixians. I thought this was a really cool active mystery. The journal / memory ones are great, but I do love the ones that have you do stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. And you're right. It does come down to, what the players want with this. Because I know there's still people who would like to go back to where we were with the gods, or maybe have a follow-up on the Zamorak boss fight, or just have it be, just find a way to let Zaros come back, right?
That's my one, because, we sort of never really got a satisfying end to that one. Yeah.
But another thing I think that we'll go into on Lore Diggers, and that's the plan for Lore Diggers, is obviously a recap of the stuff that we talk about in these mysteries, tying it into the Orphan and Dragonkin stuff on Anachronia, as well as this Edicts question, and where it goes with our current story. And do you think that this dig site, and in particular this lore that we have in it, is being kind of put in there as a bit of a hook about maybe an idea of a way our current storyline could go?
I do not, but I can. If I had to bet, I would bet on no. But it's going to be a weak bet.
Yeah, that's fair, because archaeology has always been about filling in the past, right? In particular, what you mentioned with Bill Rock and and how
Right.
we talked about that before.
Another thing that makes me think no is that there's a Twilight of the Gods requirement on this, which signals to me this is kind of more an end to the last storyline than a part of the
Just
current
a
one,
little
but-
bit of extra information on it.
Right, but that's pretty mechanical and not exactly
But was there anybody
definitive.
asking, did our edicts actually work? Was there anybody asking that?
I think people were asking that while we were fighting Zamorak.
Okay.
That was always a doubt, probably a hope.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So this
and-
would have been an in to bring that conversation back up.
And to kind of, just put it in a way, the first thing I noticed down here was actually the rune icons, which are the same, of course, rune icons
The
that we
Dragonkin
used
language,
Oh, these aren't the rune icons. Okay, they're just Dragonkin language then. Fine. I thought they looked similar to the rune icons. No, but they are Dragonkin language. You're right on that. You're right.
Yeah, they did a really cool teaser on social media a couple days before the site came out, where they hid these icons in different posts of images
really?
of the site. You had to go to their 6 different social media sites and find all of the symbols in the image, and you put it together, and it spelled out Hypnowand. It didn't spell anything new, but it was just a fun puzzle to solve.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. Does anybody else have anything on mysteries, collections, anything topside on this?
No, I just love the way the mysteries are brought in. I mean, a lot of them are basically little mini quests. A great way to introduce the lore. And as we said before, just using Skuldron, just brilliant. I just enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's just
Spirit
the
Weaver
best.
time?
Yeah. Oh, this is the best. Yeah.
There's been a lot of controversy about this one.
Why?
I can't believe the amount of people were threatening riots. I don't know why.
Yeah. So
Why?
the relic power grants a 50% XP boost when creating summoning pouches, but they will be crafted one at a time every 4 ticks, which is 2.4 seconds instead of all at once. So the idea behind this is that why would you do this? You're actively hurting how quick you're getting that summoning XP, because you can just run back and forth between the Ithel Bank and the obelisk there, and make your summoning pouches lickety split very quick, right? So the idea amongst the core efficiency minded folks in the game, let's just say, is that you would never use this. This is dead content in the game. Why do you do this, Jagex? Right?
It's a waste of a reward, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, on double XP, totally agree. But for someone like me who does do a bit of AFKing, everyone knows my story. I've got the bad back, so I do sit on my couch. I've got the laptop and the TV going, and if I'm folding washing or whatever, this is a great way to I'm now getting more XP per unit, but I can click on it. It goes and does it. I can be folding the washing, doing whatever, and then come back and then click on it again. So it's like my wood cutting or my fishing or whatever, where I don't have to be constantly, every 3 seconds pushing a button on the game.
Yeah.
Even
for
mobile.
Well, I don't play mobile, but I mean,
it's 60 seconds to make an
AFK
inventory of 25 familiars.
That's it.
great.
So for an AFK style play, this is brilliant. And you're getting 50% extra XP. Okay, it is going to be slower, but that's the whole point of AFK. Should be slower than active play.
And let's remember here that Archglacier prints blue charms like candy, right?
Does yeah.
And back in the day, summoning was one of the most expensive skills to train alongside a Herblore. Granted, that's not the case right now, because you could just go blue charm, rune minotaur with the bar and do that as one of the familiars on there, right?
But you've still got to buy your spirit shards.
And
for people, other secondary, the runes aren't rune minotaurs aren't bad, but a lot of people, even working up. I mean, if you've done this and you're not up to the using your rune minotaurs or anything, for people Iron Man play, say, or
I was just
for
thinking
people
that.
who do like to collect their own things. Hey, you're getting now 50% more. That's one third more XP per charm, per spirit shard, and per secondary.
Right. Like a water
Money that you're
talisman is
saving
1280
on those-
GP for the rest of us, but that's just so much less that you need to, be harvesting if you're an iron person.
Exactly. So instead of needing 1,000 for that level, you now need 750. Yeah, it's. I don't see the complaint on it. I actually, when I looked at it first, I thought, oh, that's not really good. Then I sort of sat back and thought, actually, because obviously I'm working towards 200 mil all, and this is one of the skills that I have left, but it does require active play. For me, this is going to be great when, as I said, my AFK style play. Obviously, if you're doing it on DXP, you're not going to be using this.
Yeah.
But for off DXP, if you're just looking to grind up the thing, this is brilliant. People who are doing it at work, click on it, bang, make it. They can go there, bang, come back and do the next slot, bang.
And that's entirely the use case for this. And I think this is something that people are seeing now and they're poo-pooing, but at the end of the day, it'll be something people appreciate.
As I was going to say, I bet while everyone's carrying on now, I bet within a month or so, this will be a fairly popular way of training.
Yeah,
because people like that AFK style training, and this gives it to them.
Yeah, Tanis, where do you fall on this with summoning? Your marathons you used to do.
No, I totally agree. It's okay that it's slower, being the AFK. Butterflies are slower too than Hunter, right? So there's your kind of equivalent to that. We've had a few fringe cases where AFK has been also the best XP method,
right?
And that doesn't always have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I don't think it should be the case.
AFK should never be the case. I mean, active play should always be your best XP.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what this is rewarding.
Yep.
Because your active play is still going to be faster than this. It's just, like you guys said, allows you to do this if you're at work or you're on mobile, a way of training summoning. So...
Yeah, I think that people have kind of lost the appeal. The appeal of XP per resource has been lost.
Right, because
all resources are very plentiful.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Because now that we have great access to the highest level charm and secondaries, I think that changes real fast once you start introducing new highest level stuff. If you raise the level cap, if there's a new charm, if there's a new secondary, that's
there you go. This is
demand.
You're entirely right. This is like testing the waters to see what people would do with the summoning we have right now to potentially.
If there was a new fifth charm and that was suddenly the best thing, do you want to make it last longer for more XP?
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly where my mind went to on that, and I hope people see it that way because there's always going to be a time of day for that, very sweaty, lean forward gameplay style that summoning has always been. There's always going to be a place for that. But
yeah, it's 48 hours, 4 times a year.
That's a good way of putting it. But, the thing that appeals to me most is just saving resources and charms because I hated combat back in the day, and I absolutely was always checking my bank. How many more charms to 99? How many more charms to 99? Right? And go ahead.
So I was going to say, think also, when you were talking skill pewers before, they can go and they do their charming moths and such.
But they don't train summoning because that gives them combat XP.
Charming moths?
To make charms to use in summoning, right?
That's right, but they can do train by catching charming moths for the charms.
Yeah,
and then go on the other things. So that way their charms do last longer. They're getting more bang for their buck. Yes, it's slower, but that's the whole thing of a skill pure is they like that.
Yeah, but the skill peers don't
journey.
train summoning because it moves their combat off level 3.
Ah,
I think some
sorry, I
do.
didn't
Like
think
they're
of
not
that.
skill peers exactly, but some people do summoning peers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, well, for those who just don't want to combat,
combat
but they want to
methods,
get all the
All right,
because they train their magic up through other means other than fighting and things like that.
Which is great because it does raise your combat level, but it has all the skilling benefits too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very
Yeah.
true. It's very true.
So they're going to get more bang for their buck on
and it only
to
raises your
charm that way,
combat
so-
level every 8 summoning levels. So I mean, it's not the end
You
of the
got
world.
7 to go.
So, but Speaking of skilling, we got the 2 new skilling offhands here, and I feel like we ought to start with Skeka's Hypnowand, the hunter one, because I feel like hunter needs the most love when it comes to skills in the game. So I want to start with the Hypnowand here for this one. So its effects, which they didn't reveal before the update went live, it grants an effect called Ogren Gift, which increases the success chance of catching whirligigs by 5%, increases the speed at which you build and arm big game hunter traps by 20%. That's substantial.
That's a good one, yeah.
It also increases the chance of encountering multiple dinosaurs at once in big game hunter, which of course you want if you're going after the Dragonmatics.
And which you also want if you want to complete the achievements, because I still need a 3.
Oh, wow.
And it also has a 2% chance to grant Hunter's Will when collecting from a successfully triggered box trap, and Hunter's Will makes it so that trappable creatures are strongly attracted to newly placed box traps, and this lasts for 10.4 seconds.
This one's
Does it
really
play
cool.
on Goodwill Hunting? Hunter's Will?
Maybe? I don't know. I'm going to say that I've never seen that movie, which is probably a bad thing.
No,
Very
not
bad.
really.
I think the big game hunter effects are the most enticing to me, at least.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Best.
I'll be
But this is
chasing
a
it simply
cool
for
one.
that.
This one's also a little odd in that it's all obtained from not archaeology. You need the archaeology to get the book that lets you start getting these drops, but it's all from Anachronia stuff, kind of buffing that area again.
I just have to laugh at that.
It keeps getting... It's gotten so much since launch, like at least like 10 to 15 things. Like it's pretty full at this point.
Yeah. So Piece 1 has boosted drop rates from the Rex Matriarchs.
Mm-hmm.
Piece 2 from the Agility course on Anachronia. Piece 3 from the Vile Blooms, and Piece 4 from Big Game Hunter. Now, all of the above, the Matriarchs, the Agility Course, the Vile Blooms, and Big Game Hunter, can drop any of the pieces, but each one has a specific boosted drop rate for that. And I think that's interesting, because it makes it so that you're not just going to, mindlessly sit and kill Rex Matriarchs, right? You're going to at least try and diversify it up a bit on this.
Right, there's a balance between the best way to do it is to do all the things, but if you're really stubborn, you don't have to technically.
I am so dreading doing the Anachronia Agility course for this.
That's the one I got.
No.
What?
Yeah.
It took me 1.5 laps,
Oh, wow, that's good.
which is apparently really, really good. I just decided to try it as the first one. I was like, I'm not really paying attention. I can hit the obstacles every once in a while, and
Oh my god!
I got it midway second lap.
Oh, that's good.
Does anybody know what these prices are going for on Street?
The
Over 100
brush, the brush was 120 mil yesterday
per piece. Yeah,
per piece. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the wand's probably similar.
That'll come down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially because you get this
obviously.
once for yourself, and then you can keep getting it from other people.
So,
Uh,
how do we feel about this as a moneymaker for Agility, Hunter, and the combat stuff on Anachronia?
Right.
That's just being
I'm all
like
for it.
the key drops to go for there.
And it's
Anything
rewarding
that brings
you
in
have,
money making for skillers, yeah.
It's rewarding you have the high dungeoneering in archaeology to go find the book to enable the drops in the first place. So
Yeah, and I think
for it.
that's quintessential skilling offhand.
Anything that helps Hunter, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's my next question from this is, does this help Hunter enough? Like,
no,
I think
not
it helped
enough.
Big Game Hunter
It's
a lot,
good.
and
Yeah.
the active that procs is good. I just feel like Hunter's still going to need more
It's
tools
mild.
at the end of the day. It's not like the Fire Torch was for woodcutting in making Elders viable.
Mm.
Mhm.
But still, I mean, yeah, a hunter's one of those funny skills where it doesn't really have any other use in game other than getting your max cape and things. But you know, it's gonna. I think it's going to increase the play, at least in the first few months, as people are hunting for them to sell those secondaries. So it now gives it a use. Yeah, I can make money from it. You know, those, as I said, the big game hunter stuff is really good. I mean, whirligigs aren't hard to catch anyway, so I don't think that's a big thing.
No, and if anything, that's more of a moneymaker kind of thing, thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think while like having it once we get, again, this is gonna be the same argument. 110 Hunter, especially if that's based in any of the 3 activities this buffs, it'd be just shooting yourself in the foot not to have this. So I think we're gonna feel it a little harder once we need that, unless you're already 110 Hunter, in which case wait for 130. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I don't know that I necessarily feel compelled to get this until I have a reason to continue training Hunter, which I won't until it goes to 110.
And by then it might be cheap.
Right. So, I'm not going to go for the Hypnowand right now on my own, but I think it's good. I don't think it's, just outright smashing and it doesn't change the skill, which is probably where skilling offhand needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do like that it's not from the archaeology because there's already the brush, so they've kind of diversified the things you can do after this site. It's not both of them in the same place.
Yeah, that's fair. So let's talk about the brush then. Balarak's whoa, third try there. Balarak fourth try. Balarak Sash brush. There we go. Got it right. Level 80 archaeology to use, and when equipped, it provides a 5% increased chance to excavation success rate, a 5% increase to base Madoc precision, 10% chance of receiving additional materials, 5% chance to gain chrono focus when reaching 100% sprite focus, which the sprite focus will give you an extra +1 multiplier on your Madoc precision at 100%. The sprite focus will instead set sprite focus to 100% and instantly cause the time sprite to change locations, and this lasts 15 seconds or until activated 5 times. So what this basically is turning your sprite focus into a game of whack-a-mole briefly to get bonuses on progress and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I find this one really compelling. Anybody else?
This one's a little more focused on resource generation, so I think it makes more sense long term.
And I think there's a reason to have it too, just in general for the full archaeology kit, I'll say.
Yeah.
With this. Was that a you think, Tanis, or I think so too?
I think there's other skills that could have used an offhand more than archaeology, just because of how good archaeology already is.
Which one?
That's their argument.
Which one? Fletching. Do we have a fire? Well, we got the fire.
Yeah, we have the the furnace core.
Right. I guess fletching would be a good one.
Yeah, and I wonder if they would want to do fletching, given the fact we got that update coming later on for that.
Yeah, that's true. Like farming, like you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, farming would have been a shoo-in for that, but kind of biased there, I think.
Isn't farming perfect already though?
But you can always use another tool.
Yeah, right? That's right.
What would the farming tool be?
I don't know. I don't know, because we also kind of have
the
we-
farming tool.
Remember, we kind of also have the quasi offhand from Sliske's Endgame too.
Oh yes, which there was a hunter one, so I don't think we're using that anymore.
Okay, fair. But this one is actually, I think, more straightforward to get, because you can just camp the archaeology dig sites underground here and have a chance of getting it. And obviously, you're gonna have a higher chance with the higher level excavation sites, the highest being the Traveler Station. But once you get a piece, you could just rotate around, fill out pieces from the other ones, and use that for your Tetra Compass stuff.
Absolutely, is a side bonus to be doing this.
Yeah, if you're going to AFK something, you might as well do this, given how much these pieces are right now.
Right, and this one also has duplicate protection, so whatever one you get first, you're going to get the next ones in order.
Yeah, that's good. But I don't know. What about you, Pern? You like this one better than the Hunter one?
Well, I mean, I'm already 200 mil art, so for me, I mean, I like archaeology because it is more of a laid-back skill. So the chronal focus for that 15 seconds is really probably not going to do much for me. I mean, obviously, a 5% increase in excavation and your precision is always good. I am on my main account going for it because I do like to unlock everything. And then I'll probably just hand it over to one of my alts. For myself, the Hunter one gives me more because I still have Hunter to train. But I mean, I think they're both quite decent
and
updates.
And see, that's I think that's the hallmark of a good update, is that it's not so powerful that everybody wants it. To use a term from the old school show a few weeks ago, you don't want the hand to stop becoming a hand if it's permanently closed, right? Much like you don't want something to be permanently fused to one equipment slot in game, otherwise it becomes too powerful with that. So
that gives nice little updates on both of them, nice little bonuses on both without killing the skill and making you have to have this, and it becomes
like my biggest thing, I think, and I think the thing we should all be walking away from with this is that is to have a hope that everybody interacts with this content and interacts with the skilling offhands, and that they're well received, so we get more skilling offhands in game. Because I know it's a great thing to have for skillers, and we really don't have that many of them already. So more is always better at this point, I'm going to say.
And it's also some of the items needed is obviously out of the archaeology thing, but something called a softened fungal shaft, which is made going back to the fungal shafts are from
you take the shafts from the
Zygamite in the
Zygamite.
game.
Yeah, the Zygamite thing. In that, you really like that, don't you?
I love it. I'm gonna go right back there when they do fletching updates.
And you combine 200 shafts with 20 onyx dust, and then you get 20 softened fungal shafts.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's
that might be another way to make a little bit of money at the moment too, because people will be after those, those shafts at the moment.
Also, draconic energy from the Dragonkin lab.
Yep,
a lot of that.
So, all in all, I think that's good on the skilling offhands, and please more of these, and through skilling content too, because I think that's the thing we'll end this with, is that just having skilling content that you can earn and make yourself, that's always just feels so satisfying.
Through skilling, yeah. And I love that. I mean, skilling offhands coming in through skilling, using skilling items to create is the way to go, and brilliant, and 10 out of 10 for that.
Indeed. All right. Well, some patch notes now with this, because we already mentioned earlier in the show that the Dungeoneering party matchmaking rooms have been removed. Nobody's going to miss them.
Nope, not a single person. No more. Was it LFG Warp +4?
Ugh. The summoning focus and voice of Saren Amlod summoning XP boosts now stack additively with each other rather than multiplicatively. I think this is okay. Might not necessarily be as powerful before, but or no, this is better, isn't it?
No, it's worse.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess maybe that's why you have the new relic power then.
Oh, maybe, yeah, it would have been too much with the plus 50% XP.
Yeah, that explains it entirely, because if you could just multiply everything by 50% on there.
Yeah.
So that, that 1.6 multiplied by 50, oops, rather than just, adding a little bit of extra to it. So that explains that. Okay.
Oh, they thought about that stuff.
They also fixed an issue which caused archaeology excavation success chance to not scale with archaeology level below 99. The issue only appeared in January of 2024 and has not been active for all of archaeology's lifespan. This provided lower-level archaeologists with more experience and materials from excavating than intended, but it would reduce as players gained levels.
What the hell happened in January?
I don't know. And see, that's the thing. You just sometimes get these little obscure bugs creaking their way into the way the game works. So they said, for those at the start of your archaeology journey, this may feel like a nerf, but archaeology's design relies on a number of interconnected parts balanced against each other. The lack of excavation success chance scaling is detrimental to this balance in a number of ways, such as causing lower-level players to generate significantly more materials than the number of artifacts that they excavate, which is discouraging the restoration of artifacts completely due to the inflated XP gains from excavating, or even devaluing archaeology materials in the economy in general due to lower demand and higher supply. And I think that pretty much sums up the entire thing, and what we all liked about archaeology is that most of the stuff kind of just fit together like a nice pair of gears.
Absolutely, but some of those are economy arguments, and I don't think Iron Man
Yep.
I think they liked having more materials than artifacts, but you're right. It's the balancing is important. That's
okay.
The intent.
I see. And they said at a fundamental level, it's important to the integrity of the skill that gaining archaeology levels leads to meaningful progression.
Why we love the skill.
Yes, and just how everything interacts together.
Mm-hmm.
The bonus provided by the material manual now correctly provides its full benefit to players at all archaeology levels, and due to the above scaling bug, this benefit was inversely scaling with archaeology level, providing no bonus for players above level 99.
There's our buff.
Yep. Even Steven, all works out in the end.
That is so weird.
Take the materials away from the low levels and give them to the high levels.
And thinking back to the start of this year, what did we have that touched archaeology? Because there was no real.
Pretty sure we had no content this year.
Yeah,
it may
be easy to figure out.
It may have been while they were working on this, something happened.
Who knows? Who knows? They fixed the issue with the spirit scorpions, unfortunately.
That was fun. People were complaining at Divination, but I actually found it quite funny just seeing these.
It was
huge. All of a sudden, this huge thing just come run. I thought there was an actual. When I first saw it, I thought there was a mod around who was doing it. But no, it was just a bug, and I liked it. I had a good chuckle over it.
Yeah, I was running around with giant brains for the time this was up.
Yeah, I just did it. I just did it once with my little tiger cub.
Oh, that's nice. The Gobi prisoners will no longer wear Santa hats during the Beastmaster Durzak encounter.
Christmas cleanup.
6 months later, this is over.
Yeah, and of course, for people unaware, bosses wear Santa hats at Christmas time. So, as somebody who has had a strong affinity to Mazcab raids once upon a time on the podcast today told me, well, it looks like somebody found a piece of spaghetti under the couch from 6 months ago.
Someone finally went to raids.
Yep.
Hey, we go to
Someone
raids.
finally went to raids.
Please, let's not rag on raids. There's people there every day doing the content who enjoy it a lot. I only stopped at 100 kills because I had log complete when, people take, somewhere sometimes up to 700 to 1200 kills to get the
That's
full
impressive.
log and pet. So I just wanted the low kill count.
I'll retract my raids comment.
Yeah. You ever been?
Yeah, I think I have like 20 or 30 KC.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, good.
Enough.
Remove some white lines that were visible on the River Lum. It's been this way for a while on the minimap. I've been wondering what that was for, but that's nice to see that that's gone. They also optimized animations that play during the Cinder and Pulse Core explosions to help with performance and reduce crash rates for players when playing on mobile.
That's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bet that was happening a lot during DXP.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It was noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. And protein memories can now be used on energy rifts when the required level is boosted. Oops. Couldn't do that before.
Boosting's such a weird thing that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
You
works,
don't see it in
sometimes
other games, and it's, so stereotypically RuneScape, right?
yeah. Well, other than it got removed from quests. It used to work. It doesn't work for research, but it works for excavation. It's weird.
Yeah. And this last one, I think, is heavy. They removed Zamorak's in-game reference to the 7 tiers of godhood in Dishonor Among Thieves post-quest dialogue as part of the wiki lore cleanup project.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a relic of, I guess, early 6th Age?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so the way this worked is that in the 6th Age, it was said that there were 7 tiers of godhood, and this was initially said by JMods on live streams and whatnot. And then that gradually worked its way into the game in the Dishonor Among Thieves post-quest dialogue. And I think the reason we see this in order, aside from, just, cleaning up lore and whatnot, I feel like there's been times where Mod Jack has said that it's a little bit too ambiguous and we shouldn't necessarily, rely and count on that. And it was something they wanted to get away from.
Yeah, soften the magic system so they have more room to do storytelling without sticking to a rubric.
Yeah, and so this effectively kills it in game, right?
This was the only. So the reason it says for the lore wiki project is that there's currently people are coming through it and trying to make sure anything that's unsourced is removed. And this is notably wanted to be removed, but it did have a source. So they've removed the source so they can remove it out of the wiki.
You gotta love how that works, how they're, so interdependently entwined there, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think we talked about this on the podcast too, the bit, and it caused us more problems than it was worth at times, right?
Right, like I think it was mentioned that the Dishonor Among Thieves, they just undid the power discrepancy from Battle of Lumbridge because they had to make the tiers back to be equal so that they could do stories with them still. It's undoing choice, but who said it ever had to be a hard number that he went down exactly -1? I don't think that working in that realm was doing anyone any favors. It was just causing headaches. Yeah.
And I think it set false expectations too, to, realize that, well, whoever would have had the highest power level or maybe made the most gains at the end of this entire thing would have been the one who was, most entitled to the Stone of Jazz in that entire venture.
Right. There's more unique powers you could use. People can be clever. This putting a number to it implies that the number is what determines who wins.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But that pretty much wraps up the patch notes for this week. We don't have too much to talk about in that regard, so let's just bring it home and start talking about what we've been doing in game. Let's start with you, Pernasius.
Myself, I did a bunch of. I had a couple of 100 master clues in my bank, so
Jesus.
I did 100 of those. Got 2
Sash.
Soul Reaper kits, which were like 50 mil each, but the rest was just junk. Did a whole bunch of the other levels as well, but I just wait until I get sort of 500 of those and open them all at once. Worked on, obviously,
Do you use Alt 1?
Dungeoneering. No. God, no. I don't cheat. No, I mean, I enjoy doing puzzles and things like that. So that's my relaxation. I can just sit down there and just do some puzzles and that. So I enjoy doing that. Did obviously finish the Daemonheim Archaeology site. Had a lot of fun there. And I got my divination to 190. So that's basically everything except prayer, summoning, and actually I think it's just prayer and summoning I've got now to get to 190, and then I can start working on hitting the 200s on everything.
Well, I mean, I guess you have a way you can AFK do the summoning now.
Well, exactly that's why I was actually, people complaining, but I thought that worked out. It's timed it really well for me.
Yeah.
Because I was just killing, that's the other thing I was doing. I was just going to node on Dragonkins and sort of AFKing them to build up Dragonkin bones for the next DXP. But yeah, now that I've got summoning, that'll probably be the one to go to 120, and I'll just sort of bounce in between, 190, and just bounce between that and Dragonkins.
Very nice. Tannis, how about you?
Archaeology, and not even like the deep mysteries, just doing it. Just doing archaeology again, just restoring artifacts, excavating. Oh, I don't know. There's one thing could have mentioned. Don't forget your fixate. Fixate on your the things you're trying.
Yeah, I had about a dozen of those tokens in the bank from various treasure hunter promos.
Yeah, and also the restored artifact replicator.
I didn't have any of those.
Didn't you? For the last one, just so I could get the mysteries done, I just went bang bang, got one of each, did that, completed my logs, and then just went back and just enjoyed doing it.
Nice.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
What are the other treasure hunter archaeology things that are in game?
There's a dummy, yeah.
Yeah,
There
but
is a
that doesn't
dummy,
help
but
us
yeah,
here with
that's-
this.
No, it does not.
I think it's just the fixate and the restored artifacts
The
replicator.
replicator,
I think,
right?
yeah, I think they're the only two.
They managed
major
to keep
ones.
it tame.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, fixate charge tokens. Just looking at those. Those came in game in October 2020, so that was one of the first treasure hunter archaeology things they added.
Yeah.
I had 70 odd of them in the bank. So.
Jesus.
I think
I just let them go
How?
there. So yeah. Because I just build them up. I never use them.
Yeah. We did have Fixate before on the Cape, but that was like 3 daily or something. We still have that.
You still get 3 daily. So yeah, when I was ever doing that, I was just using those, and I just let the fixates build up for updates like this. If that way I could, I've got 2 of those and 1 of those. I'm just going to fixate on that so that I get my 2 rather than like 6 of one and 1 of the other. So
guarantee it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was funny because you only needed 2 of each other than the bracelet this time around, whereas a lot of others, there were other collectors.
Yep.
Which I was a little disappointed at. I would have liked to have seen some other.
I think I actually prefer it when they're just straightforward.
Yeah, but like even the museum, who generally gets something of everything, didn't get anything out of this one, which I found unusual because normally it's 3 of each, which was what I was just doing until I actually go, oh, hang on, I only need 2 of each, because the museum didn't want any.
All right. Avernick?
Not too much. I was biding time with some Osius here and there, but it's archaeology all the way now. I'm 200-ish artifacts dry on a brush piece, so...
Ooh. It's going to be interesting to see what the actual rates are on those, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I
did
know
the first
there
100.
there's been some talk that people think they're going to be as rare as the spear tips.
I don't, but I mean,
God, I hope not.
there's 3 of them, but we'll see.
374 mil to get my first spear tip.
I have not got a spear tip yet.
Sorry, 324 mil before I got my first spear tip, and I'm sitting there cursing Shane every time I'd hear him pick them up.
I got
Archaeology is my highest XP skill because I never got a spear tip. And I got to 160 with nothing.
I got 3 spear tips and 140 million XP.
Yeah, I've got 2 and 104 5 mil. Like right past 120.
For a while, it was like I was just printing them there, you know? I feel like you guys saw that in chat, like, when that was happening.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there going, and I'm sitting there hunting them, and that's why I've got so many masters too, because of all the Tetra pieces. It's just doing Warforge and such, and yeah.
Well, you know, I think it's been a week of archaeology on that front, and you know, I'm going to be boring and say it's been exactly the same for me in that regard, and this will be your weekly reminder as well to milk your Fremennik cows for the for the yak milk there, because that, you know, still sells for a lot.
Good money.
But I also do have to report that on Old School, we have now unlocked Laledia and completed Roving Elves, and have all the requirements for Well Gothic Sleeps, which is arriving on July 10th.
Well, very nice.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun to go back and...
When's sailing coming?
Oh, God, that's an entire debacle in itself. That's an entire debacle in itself, Pronuncius.
I thought it was a joke when I heard, because I heard it in April that it was coming, and I actually thought it was a joke.
Like, the best way I could describe sailing for what we have right now is that it's like one of those government works projects that they say they're going to do, but they keep consulting, and they can never make everybody happy with it. And I have a legitimate concern that they're going to get to a point with it where they're going to pull it again, and they're just going to cancel the entire thing, and Old School will never see a new skill. But
that'd be dark.
If you want to hear what we had to say on sailing when we talked about that, there is something that happens with that each and every week, and that's the Old School RuneScape update, youtube.com/@OSRS update, if you want to hear Sirion and myself talk about that each and every week. Go there. We talk about sailing. This week we're going to be talking about some mobile UI updates and who knows what else, because it's actually a quiet week over there. I know a lot of folks say that, well, you know, Old School gets updates every week, and you know, the interesting thing about this is that since RS3 has started getting content updates again, I think RS3 has actually got more updates in the last month than Old School.
We stole you, good mod.
So, but we do have a few achievements this week as well. So I'm just gonna read through those quickly. Then we'll get to Avernix's pick of the week. So this week we have Bulbasaur with 120 farming on the 11th, as well as Demi Heights with 99 prayer on the 10th. Arendelle 20 got 120 range. Keski got 120 agility on the 9th, and Dad Engineer got 120 constitution on June 8th. Nicely done, everyone.
Well done, all.
All right, board game time, isn't it, Avernick? What's this about?
Yeah, so when you were asking for Pick of the Week, I asked if this had been done before, because it's kind of older. It's a board game called Gloomhaven. It came out in 2019, and it kind of exploded. It's really popular in board game circles. I don't know if any of you guys are. It's a cooperative, turn-based strategy game, which has you and up to 3 other friends go into a scenario with a bunch of monsters and take turns trying to clear out the rooms or do objectives. You set up like big maps on your table, and it's an incredibly crunchy game in that like there's a lot of numbers, a lot of mechanics, but they're presented in a really cool way. There's no dice in this game. Everyone's using a hand of cards with all of your possible moves, and you have to pick out which moves you want to use this turn while saving other ones for next turns. and then kind of communicate with your team members. Some are like more support, some are more damage, some are more tanks. It's really a lot
so
of
it really
systems
leans
that
into
work
what
really
you can
well together.
expect. Like if you'd say if you played D&D, that you'd slip right into.
I
this,
would
right?
say this is like entirely the like this is D&D combat done amazingly. There's
In
small
a board
roleplay
game
elements
form.
to this.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It is a legacy game, and that you start with a couple of characters and cards you can use. But as you either level up, you get more cards for your character, or as you complete like bigger overarching missions, you unlock new characters you can play. And it's all these little sealed boxes in the game that you might not open for months or years. There's a lot of content in this one game, and there's at this point spin-offs. There's a sequel game. They made a video game which kind of recaps the first game, as long with like other randomly generated content. There's a lot here. It's a big box. It is pricey, but you get a ton of time out of it. I still haven't finished the base game. With my group of friends, we try to play a dozen scenarios when we get together, maybe once a year, and we're still playing that. They released a spin-off game called Jaws of the Lion, which was made to be a little more easier to digest. So this was a smaller version, focuses on just a couple core characters. The setup's easier. They spell out the mechanics more. Like the first couple of missions act more like tutorial than in the base game, where they kind of just throw you in and expect you to read the rule book like board games do. So I'd definitely recommend Jaws of the Lion as like a gateway. They made it specifically to be sold in stores, big box stores like Target and Walmart.
Oh, okay. So where do you find this then?
I would say board game stores, but I feel like that's pretty like locale specific. Like,
yeah.
I have a couple by me. I feel like all of them are going to have it. There is the version on Steam, which is kind of a port of it. I think that works really well, especially if you have remote friends you want to play with. I think that I've played the video game one at this point probably just as much in a shorter period of time, because it's so much easier to get online for an hour to play one scenario.
Yeah.
A board game would be a board game store for the bigger ones. You might find this at like a Target or Walmart in America. I don't know what the options would be in other countries, but for the smaller one, it's a really you can get so much time out of this if you're really into board games.
So I guess
if
the question,
like the RuneScape game, this is also probably like a deeper dive than that.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Into board games.
Yeah. So I know I'm looking at the website here. It says 60 to 120 minutes for a game. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds low.
That sounds low. Oh wow.
Maybe if you're like doing it 2-player, but because you have to control all the monsters as well.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Try to figure out what their best move is against you. There's a lot of micromanaging of the stuff going on. I maybe when you get more comfortable.
Okay, so it's probably something you would just want to sink a nice evening into, then start early, and finish late, sure. Kind of thing.
Absolutely, and there's been so many developments made to explain the game better since when I first played. When I first played it, we had no idea. One of my friends just bought it. We tried to read the rule book. It was very dense, and we failed to play it the first couple times. Like we were like, oh, we weren't supposed to be using this entire deck of cards. We were supposed to pick 10 or something stupid like that. We weren't getting it, but eventually now there's materials out there, and there's like a second edition of the game out at this point that has better explaining, better balancing as well. So there's a whole world behind this game. It's definitely constantly they're adding more spin-offs, more sequels, more expansions. This is definitely the deep end of board games.
Fair enough. So if you're typically a Ticket to Ride or Catan person, you probably want to take a few steps before this. Then
this is the you keep wanting to play Catan with your friends. Like, I think we're done. This is the one you go to if you're that guy. If you're the one that's always wanting to play the board games.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll have a link in the show notes to that one, and if you Google it, you can also find it on Steam as well. So thank you for that, Avernick.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end, I think. The end of the Daemonheim Archaeology Road, but not the end of the story, of course. We'll be doing Lore Diggers at some point in the future on this. Big, huge thank you to you, Avernick and Parnassius, for joining us on the show this week.
Thank you for the invite.
so happy to be here.
Yeah, always good to talk. Always good to talk about archaeology, the beloved skill that came out of the pandemic. We're still questioning whether it is truly great or if we just all.
It had been
love
3
it.
years since the last archaeology update.
Holy.
Really?
Yes, that's right. Centistan was summer 21.
August 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, we're 2
I
months
didn't
off.
think it was that long ago. Holy crap.
It stayed in our hearts this whole time.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And
I'm just down here on World 12 watching people whinging that they have to do quests to do archaeology. It's like, it's bad when they make you play the game to play the game.
So what do we think? Do we want another full archaeology dig site? New types of soil,
absolutely.
new everything somewhere?
Yeah. I love these. I mean, as I said, I'm almost 400 mil in archaeology XP, and I will continue redoing it over and over and bring out more. I'm happy to do them all the time.
Well, let's hope we're back sooner rather than later for more archaeology.
Yeah, don't let us make us wait 3 years again.
Yeah,
exactly.
not 3 years. That's too much.
Yeah.
A desert one would be fun.
A desert one would be
like not the Caradet stuff, but like further south, like the Sophon and Menopause stuff.
Mm.
That would be fun. There's also Arpasandra and the gnomes. I think would be fun too.
I think
more
there's
gnomes. Let's finish the gnome quest.
because we've buried them all in graves, and we're going to dig them up.
Yep.
I don't think we've ever asked you, Avernick. Where would you put your dream dig site in the game?
Oof.
That we don't
I think
have.
at the moment, I'm really into doing a Guthix one. I think that the novel that just came out was pretty juicy on like 4th Age Guthixians, which I think has a lot there. That is like rune crafting, discovery, and stuff like that. But
that would be great.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed not to say something Eastern Lands.
Of course you would.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah, thank you for that. With all the bloody travelling I have to do there for Master Clues. 90% of the Master Clues are set in Eastern Lands.
I will take all of the credit for the things you like, but please do not attribute anything you don't.
No, it's fine, no. It is such a beautiful area. It's such a beautiful area, though. I really like. I mean, I do complain, but I mean, I do like travelling there. Just looking around.
That was a fun thing to do.
Well, folks, that's it. We'll be back next week for another episode of Update. Subscribe, update.show/subscribe. We're on all the podcast listeners, Apple Podcasts, Google, Pocket Cast, Spotify, and more, as well as youtube.com/RSBANDB. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
See you all.